Okay, this is my presentation about a Linux distribution called Matrix Leandros. I'm the lead developer, and I'm mentored by Joshua Brashos, goes by Savant42, and that's my Twitter handle and the website. Okay, what I do is, I'm not into security most of the times, but I like the development stuff. Oops.
So reconnect the cable.
Which cable?
The video cable.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm a researcher, mostly into smart grids and SCADA systems. And I said I'm a lead developer for Matrix, blogger sometimes. I'm a recent graduate from Texas Tech University in computer science. I just graduated in May, and I'm a part-time web developer to just earn money and feed myself. And as a staff there, you can email me at prajwal@matrix.com, or I go by the Twitter handle PR4JWL. And that's the website, matrix.com. And there's a warning for you, people who previously attended my talks showed serious issues with mental health. And these are some of the reactions from my previous talks. And I warn you. Okay, so I'll just go through why we started with Matrix. Many people keep asking me, why are you working on Matrix when there are distros like Backtrack, Backbox, Samurai, and many others there. So one answer for them is that not all of them are same. There's much difference. Like there are many desktop variants like Debian, Ubuntu, Slackware, Arch Linux, and many of them. So why can't we have that kind of thing in security? So that's how we started, and we just follow the free spirit of Linux to do that. And 2 years back or 4 years back, I know nothing about Linux. Even to get it booted on my computer, I used to take days or someone's help to get it done. So I thought this was a good way to learn Linux. And also, when I got into it, there were some issues with the already existing distros there. And they need some manual configuration to be done to actually get them working. So just to work on them, and make it pretty easy to get booted up and just start running your applications or tools for your security scanning or framework or anything. So, and that's the one. And initially it was started just so that, to meet our needs and just to have a build on my computer or my teammate's computer to just work, to have the tools and applications and packages that we needed. But then it just got popular, so we had to make a full-fledged distribution. So these were the challenges we faced. Initially we started off with Slacks, but then Slacks had its own limitations because a Linux distro or a security distro mostly needs to be booted up live or through a flash drive, and if you go through Slacks, it takes a lot of time to boot up, and people would hate that. So, and then we switched to Ubuntu, and we worked with 3 variants based on Ubuntu, and right now the last version was based on Debian, and the next one is kind of a hybrid between Debian and Slacks. It's mostly a Debian lookalike and Debian feel, but the kernel level and some of the stuff is near to Slacks. Why I emphasize on Slacks is because Slacks file system compression is too high. If you look at the Ubuntu or Ubuntu basic ISO for your desktop, and if you look at the Slackware ISO, Ubuntu comes with a 700 MB of ISO, and Slacks comes with the same set of tools and applications you need for your desktop, in a 350 or 300 MB. So that's the difference there. So when you come to a Linux security distro, you mostly want it to be booted from a flash drive or from your disk. So you want it to be as small as you can, so that there are different flash drives, 1 gig, 2 gigs, 3 gigs, 4 gigs. So it would be better to have a build that would come up in a 1 gig or 2 gig. So that's the reason, kind of like, we started with that. And initially, I personally lacked experience with Linux, and I'll say that. And there were issues with collaborating with different application developers and others, and we lacked the infrastructure to get it done, and the legal issues because it's all about exploit development and things like that, and definitely the financial issue. So it was launched in 2008 based on Slacks, like I said, and 2 variants of Ubuntu. But when it really picked up was when we moved to Debian in 2011. And Matrix was the first one to be based on Debian. All the other Linux distros which were into security and forensics were mostly based on Ubuntu by that time. And we pretty much continued sticking with Debian for a long time, and hope that we'll stick to that, because Debian is pretty good when you're considering to develop stuff and get them together. So who should use Matrix? It's designed to be used by pen testers, forensic investigators, auditors, and system and network administrators, exploit developers, security enthusiasts, and casual Linux users, because it also has applications and tools packaged for your day-to-day use Linux. So that's how we plan to cover most of the group of users. So the new things in this build are, it has 330 plus tools for pen testing, forensics, and for everything. So this has the latest 3.9.4 kernel, which is pretty much customized. It's directly picked up from the kernel sources and pretty much crafted so that it can work good with Matrix. It's patched with SquashFS, and off modules, and it's also patched with XZ compression so that you can compress the file system to a good level. And also it's made sure that even if the file system is compressed pretty high, it doesn't disturb the booting time or something like that. So all the tools were updated until 2 days back. Tools from DEF CON, Arsenal, and Black Hat Arsenal also included in that. And there are applications for smartphone pen testing and smartphone forensics. And when you come to a security distro, there are only tools like Nmap, Metasploit, and tools that generally just focus on attack, and attack. So forensics are neglected in most of the distros, so we try to have equal importance in forensics too. There are a lot of tools in forensics, and Matrix uses its own update tool rather than an apt repository. The reason is when you go through an apt repository, it just apt-get and it just installs. But there are a lot of tools lying out there which doesn't have a README or how to get it done or how it's done or what does the tool do. So you need to be sure of make sure that that's something of importance to the distribution and to the users. So there are tools there which depend on a gem file or a Perl module, and you can pretty much get it done through the apt-get or a Debian packaging manager. So that's the reason we use a update tool for ourselves. And there are some applications which were developed by our team There are some scanners, there are some password generators, some password crackers which were developed by our team members which are in there. And Matrix is USB persistent, like I said before. And there's a new section, PCI DSS and compliance testing in Matrix, which is never been in any Linux distribution ever so far. So this is, we organize tools in Matrix in a section called Arsenal. They go in a logical workflow of any user. So they just start with reconnaissance, scanning, and accessing frameworks, wireless, forensics, PCI DSS, like I just said, debuggers, tracers, and there are some tools in miscellaneous section. So I'll quickly switch to the Matrix build. And this is currently a work in progress right now because we follow a 6-month cycle to release every build. I actually planned it to be released next month, but it's pretty much in a good condition right now, and I can show you. So like I talked, there are sections from reconnaissance, scanning, there are a bunch of tools here, and gain access. There's a huge list of password crackers and password generators, and there are tools for SQL injection, SQL scanning, and a lot of them for IPv6 consideration if someone's working on that. And a bunch of frameworks, INGMA, Metasploit, Social Engineering Toolkit, W3EF, Beef, and some of these tools like GotBeef is getting released at DEF CON in a couple of days. The source code was out there, and I just checked it, and it was fine, so I just included in this. And there's this framework, Subterfuge, which is a kind of man-in-the-middle attack framework, totally automated. So you get to plug in your stuff there, and I'll switch back to slides. Like I said, these are the most popular tools that are used in the particular section. I didn't list all of them, a lot of them on the distro. So if you get a chance, you can just check them. Wireshark, a pretty popular network analyzer tool. Magic Tree, and then Radish Framework. And then in scanning, we have tools for Cisco, the Cisco stuff, and there are a bunch of web scanners, like almost 15 of them, I guess. And other tools which are just lying there, like Google Scan, Blind Elephant, T50, Vega is something which is getting released at DEF CON again. It's by Subgraph. It's a completely, it's a web scanner, it's a exploitation tool, and it's like complete package for a web attack. And okay, cool. And okay, is it visible to you?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah. The passwords, and this password list download points to Skull Security. There are a bunch of passwords list there, and right now I just included the RawQ password list, which is here, and it's a huge list. Even a zip version comes to 300 MB. So there are tons of gigs of passwords there, but I can't include it in a live disk. So that's the reason I just made up a download password there. Okay, and these are all the password crackers. VBox keygen, CMS password, Ataminam key, and CatchBR, MBDR. These are all tools that were developed by one of my teammates. He's from France, Michael Shungen, and the most popular ones like the OPH Crack, John, Hydra, and again the VNC PW dump is something which is developed by Michael. Okay, sorry. Like I said, these are the tools, and Gcrack is something when you come across a username, you can just type it on the application and it just scans through the Google searches and comes up with a list of passwords. And IIS brute forcer is something which works until IIS version 6.0. The Wirecrack. And the next section is SQL section. The most popular set of tools people work on, like the SQL map, Minima Escalator, SQL Brute, SQL Ninja, SQLS, and there's a section of tools for IPv6. A lot of them. I don't know most of the tools what really they do, but yeah, they are there. IPv6 section, like I just mentioned. And the frameworks, the most popular ones, the Metasploit, Social Engineering Toolkit, W3AF. Have any one of you ever used W3AF?
I use W3AF. What does it do?
It's a complete package for web application auditing, attack, and kind of everything. It does everything for your website, web pen testing stuff. And there's Beef. I think every one of you use that. And the Grendel scan. Wasp Mantra. Anyone has come across it ever?
No.
Okay. It's something developed by one of my friends. He was a part of our team, or he's still a part of our team. Sorry about that. And it's basically so. Did you ever come across Firecat? No? Okay. So this is like a Firefox web browser, but it comes with most of the add-ons that are used for security purposes. So HackMeBar and things like live HTTP headers, the Fire FTP, a lot of them there in the galley section, like I said. They have their own big list of stuff. So that's Wasp Mantra. And Skipfish is a information gathering framework. And WebScarab, Subterfuge, Burbsuit, and Maltego. It's a community edition. I can't include commercial stuff in there. And a bunch of wireless applications from Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, VoIP, SIP, everything. And there are also GUI applications like the Phone Wi-Fi Tracker, Jerix, doing WebBuster, and WebLab. And Pirate is a Python script which, when you have a password list, it just goes through that and does the stuff. So there are a lot of VoIP stuff like IXCAN, SIPVicious package, and then Viper, River, Kismet, Bluetooth, brute forcing Bluetooth, and the whole package of Fairtrack. You can interrupt me in between, so it feels like I'm just talking. And for forensics, there are sections of acquisition, analysis of forensic stuff, and then there's a section for meta extraction, and some tools like Dash, Mobius Forensic Toolkit, PyFlag. PyFlag is a pretty cool Python forensic tool.
What does it do?
It's like when you acquired, what do you say, image of, what do you say, memory or something. It can plug in with anything, like right from digital forensic framework, and also any Python script you can plug in there, and it can be used as a good, what do you say, it's a graphical
GUI.
representation of your forensic data.
Okay.
So,
Do you have any binary analysis tools like Acquire or IW
what?
or
Binary analysis
binary
tools.
analysis tools?
Not right now, but there's GDB as always. Yeah, and what do you say? Stack analysis tools there. And this is the new section which has never been included in any distribution so far. It has all the PCI DSS compliance tools and and also compliance testing tools. There are some barcode scanner stuff. PanBuster is something which looks up for your SSN credit card numbers on a image you have. There's this spider helix server, a process which looks up through certain regex strings which you can just give up there. And just like and Fossology is something which looks up through your file system and generates a list of licenses. It just does the source code review, but generates the licenses those sources have, and just like a information gathering stuff for a code. And there's this, okay, sorry, tool. A lot of them I never used. Okay, I need to start up Apache. And what else do I need? Okay, MySQL. And refresh. So it's like a complete package for your compliance testing. It comes up with doing where you can generate projects for your risk management, compliance management, pretty much of the legal stuff and auditing stuff that goes on in the organization.
Where did you find the PCI tools?
I was contacted by ISACA group, and a person who works in ISACA Bangalore just contacted me and said like, hey, these tools look cool and you should just try to include them in your distro and you should try it out. And this mail was just last week.
Yeah.
And I tried them out and just mailed them to check if they work okay and is it how you use it. And they said they are working pretty fine and we can use it in a use. So I said, okay, and just go ahead and add them. These are the different sections in forensics. These are pretty much tools, a lot of tools that are used in forensics. These are the acquisition tools where you gather image of a memory or a hard disk or something. Just a second. Like I said, there are also tools for smartphone pen testing, smartphone forensics. There are tools for Android forensics. There are tools for iPhone forensics, like APK Viewer, APK Inspector, Androbot. And for iPhone, there's iPhone Analyzer. There's a new tool that's going to be released in Black Hat. I think it's done this afternoon. There was no source code available, but if that would have been available, I would have checked it and just added it up there. these are the following debuggers that are available right now: Boomerang, Crash, Dizzy, Hexedit, Netifera, and Valgrind, which are mostly used. And there are a couple of tracers. Most of them are included in the reconnaissance section because some of them just work as an information gathering tool. So some which look a little different, I put them up here in a different section. And like I said, there are different versions of Matrix. This was the last one, the eccentric version, which is right now available for download. It's on SourceForge, it's on GitHub, it's on our website, matrix.com. You can just check it out. This was a cleaner UI, I guess, but I keep changing the UI all the time. We come up with a theme every time. So this was a cleaner one. There was a version which had wallpapers with their adult theme, and this is pretty much stable version which is out there. And I don't know, for some reason, many people I talk here say that they have never heard of Matrix yet. But the stats show that United States is one of the largest users for us. This is just for the Matrix eccentric version, and it crossed 100,000 downloads just today. And this was launched in February 2013. I think stats are okay for now, so that's the reason we continue working on that, because we never focused on BitCrowd, but right now we are focusing on BitCrowd and trying to let people know that there's something existing like this. It's the second to have highest downloads in India is because most of our team is from India. So that's pretty much of it, and I hope you download it, install it, and play with it. And if you come up across something that seems not okay with that, you can just tell us. And if you have something you say like this sucks or this is okay, and you can just tell us, and I'll make sure that it's taken care of. We respond every mail we get, just to make sure that we give out the best in the build. And what we are going to do right now is that we are going to have a public release in a couple of weeks, because this is pretty much okay and it's working, but a few tests that need to be done, because there might be some hardware issues that might come up later on when we release. There might be issues with some computers which won't work, just won't boot up into GUI, and they might have issues with that. And one of the most important concerns is the wireless drivers, because everyone wants to hook up a alpha card and do wireless pen test and stuff like that. So I tried to include a lot of wireless drivers in the kernel, so no one really has to get it installed on your disk and then work through the drivers for the wireless cards. And there are some other projects we are working on, like the Matrix security framework. Yes.
I was just going to ask, does it virtualize well?
What?
Does it virtualize well? Run in a VM?
Yes. Right now I'm running on VirtualBox. I use VirtualBox to develop so that every time I can take a snapshot, and if something breaks up, I can just switch back to there. It's pretty much integrated with VirtualBox. Right now, this version is running in live mode. I just mounted a live CD and running. But if you see, it's pretty much integrated with VirtualBox. it's just going easy with that. Because if you have any other Linux distribution and have a VMware or VirtualBox, you have to get it installed and then have the guest additions or the separate packages that you have for that to be installed. So it's pretty much taken care of that it works easy with the VirtualBox and VMware.
Is the download on the website, is it a VirtualBox image or is it an ISO or?
There's an ISO there. There's also what do you say, GitHub repository. We didn't upload a VirtualBox image because right now the thing is, whenever even SourceForge, whenever the download bandwidth goes high, they just flag it and we get mail. So right now we are just having ISOs on SourceForge. There's a image on GitHub, and there are also torrents. So yeah, and the Matrix security testing framework would be something which would allow you to build exploits or to follow a practice of code auditing, and we are trying to include everything that's needed for a complete pen test in that. It's a work in progress, which has just started, and we are also planning to build a DAM vulnerable matrix because the DAM vulnerable Linux was stopped a couple of years back. It's not available anymore. There's this Metasploitable, but there are certain restrictions to that. But I personally miss the DAM vulnerable Linux. So we are trying to get something similar to that, to DAM vulnerable matrix. And I think that's it for my talk. You can email me, you can connect to me on Twitter, or visit our website. I think I can walk you through.
What does your Latin motto actually translate to?
It says, if you don't know the path, make your own path. It's a Latin. And Matrix was recently included in the Open Invention Network, 8 months back, I guess. So, do you guys have idea about Open Invention Network? It's what do you say, non-profit organization which supports open source softwares, distributions. It's something which is supported by Google, HP, Sony, Philips, and all the big corporations who try to protect the free software licenses. So this is the download section, and pretty much we go with the usernames of root, our matrix, and then Tiger, because all of our distros were based on lion or tiger theme. I can see right now there's a tiger theme logo, or sometimes it's a lion.
What about some bears?
Huh?
You like bears?
Yeah, something like
Yeah, bears. Why bears?
that. We might come up with a bear when we are done with the lions and tigers. Yeah. And these are some of the wallpapers, the screenshots from our previous versions, just to show you how the previous versions look like. Oh, it's taking a very long time. This was the from Matrix Krypton, the first one, which was the first distribution, security distribution to be based on Debian in the world. And the second one, like I said, it's a kind of an adult themed. And as I just had these two images available right now on my desktop, so I just walked you through the latest one. Okay, there's something I have to show you. Is it visible right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have a habit of going to root all the time. So it's the 2.6 version I'm working on, and like I said, the Linux kernel is totally customized, and we have the latest 3.9.4-2 kernel, and most of the Linux variants that are available to download are at most at 3.3. I had pretty much spent 2 or 3 months working on kernel first, and then a little less of time than working on kernel to package up stuff.
So, is the kernel where you put the majority of your development work into?
Yes. The thing is, every time I work on kernel, it's something like new to work with. But when you work with package management and packaging stuff, it's kind of routine stuff you do. So they get pretty quickly done, but when working on kernel, they kind of break up sometime. And also the kernel, when you're compiling it, it takes 3 or 4 hours to just compile it, and then some time to build it. So yeah, that's the reason kernel takes a lot of time. Right now, Matrix is just a 32-bit Linux distro, but we are trying to build an ARM version and also a 64-bit in the coming months.
Okay.
Any questions?
That's good.
Yes.
How much time does it take you on average to add a new tool?
Sometimes it just takes a couple of days. I mean, if I have to go through knowing what the tool does and how it is, then it takes some time. But if I'm adding something like Nmap or Metasploit, it's just like installing and packaging it, that's it. So it just pretty much takes the time that it takes for you to install and configure it. So, any more questions?
Are you looking to make it easy to add 3D drivers for graphics cards? That tends to be a tricky thing, right? For a lot of
The reason is, it's tough to even get 3D drivers to run on Ubuntu, if you ask me, right? So Ubuntu, which is the largest used Linux distribution, still has problems with getting the graphic drivers running. I think that's something I would look up at the end.
Sure, that's why I asked, but it's hard to do.
Yeah, that's something I would bother at the end rather than bothering about it right now. So are you done?
Thank you.
All right.